You got this. You got this. Aliens aren't real. It was just a weird fireworks display. Not a UFO. Aliens aren't real. You got this. Alright. You're a president. Do president thing. Everybody loves you. Everyone loves you except everybody who doesn't. You got this. Do president things. Aliens aren't real. Make the announcement.
Sir, you're on now.
Alright.
Hello everyone, my name is Brennan. I hope your day's been going good, and aliens are f***ing real. They came down in a giant-ass flying f***ing saucer and abducted like 3 old people. They had a laser and a probe and special powers, and I think I have arthritis!
That's pretty No, I'm good.
You're taking it pretty well, don't you? Look, one in the backseat I'm holding up a sign. It's kind of hard to make out though. Can you read that one out for me?
It says, E.T. is back, and he's f***ing pissed, sir.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna take that as a sign of good things to come. You pretty much have this handled from here. I'm gonna go talk about something actually important now. Good luck. Hey everyone, my name's Brendan. I hope your day's been going good. And yeah, that's right, I'm president now. President of the delusional alien activists of awesome might and narcissism, that is. Or DAMN for short, but I'll be honest, I don't think I'm really cut out for being president. I'd much rather talk about virtual aliens voiced by Brant Albrecht, but where am I gonna find something like that? In Destroy All Humans, you get to play as an alien doing alien shit, such as this, and even this. Destroy All Humans is an open-world action-adventure game where you take on the role of an alien invading human society. So basically Grand Theft Auto, but you're small and green instead.
I am not green.
Oh, my bad, man.
I guess I'll just have to settle for ripping your limbs off one by one with my bare hands.
Destroy All Humans originally released back in 2005 for the original Xbox and PlayStation 2. The game was developed by everyone's favorite now-dead studio, Pandemic. Pandemic were the creators of such beloved games as the 2 original Star Wars Battlefronts and the Mercenaries games. May they rest in peace. The game was also published by everyone's favorite dead, but not really dead studio, THQ, creator of such beloved games as... The game also got a remake semi-recently back in 2020 for the Xbox One, PS4, and PC. The game also really recently got a port on Nintendo Switch. I'm sure it runs like a dream. The game follows the 2 main alien characters, Orthopox and Cryptosporidium, my favorite virus genus and parasite. These 2 are part of an alien race known as Furons. Since the Furons waged war so frequently and to such an extreme extent over the generations, it caused their genes to mutate over time as a result. Because of this, their species couldn't carry on reproducing because... I don't really know how to put this, They don't have dicks. In order to keep their race from dying out, they turned to cloning themselves as the solution. They soon found, though, that their genetic information would degrade with every new clone, meaning they would need to find a source of pure, uncorrupted Furon DNA in order to keep cloning themselves. That's where we come in, because for some reason in this game, all humans have a strand of Furon DNA within them. Why is this the case? Well, screw it. I'll let Invader Zim explain this one.
Fortunately, a Furon ship happened upon Earth on its way back from destroying the Martians. Sailors on a foreign planet, letting off steam, one thing led to another.
Sure. So basically, Orthopox, or Pox for short, sends out Cryptosporidium-136 to scope out Earth and collect the DNA from their brains. Soon after doing this, though, Pox loses contact with them. From there, Pox sends Crypto-137 to go find him and collect the Furon DNA while he's there. Alright, so Crypto touches down his flying saucer on a farm. Him and Pox need to find out what the dominant species on the planet is, so naturally they walk up to the cows inside the fence. But, uh-oh, the cow shits on him. Time for murder. As Crypto, you're able to use psychokinetic powers to lift up people, objects, and, you guessed it, cows. This gets the attention of the farmer, who is probably as much of a stereotypical redneck farmer as you can get, and it's hilarious.
He's having barbecue for dinner? Wait a minute, that ain't steak, that's... Holy mother... Martha, give me the shotgun!
Oh my God, what in tarnation? Someone get my shotgun. We gotta go take care of this thing right now. I'm not even dealing with this. No, I'm done. This is how it's ended. It's going.
Pox gives Crypto one of his first weapons in the game, the Zap-O-Matic, to fight the farmers off. Soon after this, the police and then eventually the army show up to try and stop Crypto. In order to fight off the tanks, you hop back into your flying saucer and use a giant death ray against them. Not to mention that you can also use your Abducto beam to fling the tanks and soldiers around like you're a 5-year-old playing with their action figures. Once you're finished up with using your flying saucer to just f***ing obliterate the military, you have the option to head back to your mothership. Once you do that, the men in black show, the men in very, very dark brown. Basically, the two talk about how they're worried about an incoming alien invasion, which I can't blame them for thinking that. These guys are from a mysterious organization called Majestic, a group based around defending against and confronting alien threats, and serve as the main antagonist throughout the story.
Yeah, that's great and all, but what exactly are my thumbs gonna be doing during all this? They're hungry for inputs!
Like I briefly mentioned before, the general gameplay of Destroy All Humans can most easily be compared to that of the open sandbox GTA world. You, as Crypto, can go around and cause chaos and destruction using your arsenal of weapons and UFO on the citizens and government of 1950s United States. Crypto, right off the bat, is able to use psychokinetic abilities, basically just being able to lift things up with his mind and move them around. Not only can flinging vehicles and enemies around be super useful during the missions, but it's also just really fun. Throwing around tanks and cars at enemies and other vehicles is super fun to do. Not to mention that the ragdoll physics on NPCs in this game make it all 10 times better. Aside from that, Crypto can also use hypnosis abilities, which for the most part are mission sensitive, telling a specific person to go somewhere or do something. Outside the missions though, the hypnosis ability can be used for either making someone fall asleep or having them cause a distraction, with the distractions ranging from the person acting like a monkey or doing impressions of Elvis. Crypto also has the ability to holobob people, which is essentially just like holographically projecting the image of a person over top yourself.
In non-geek talk, that means wearing a disguise.
Wearing these disguises will drain a meter up at the top left of the screen though, so you'll have to scan other people's thoughts in order to refill it. If the meter becomes empty, Crypto will lose his disguise.
Holy! What's going on?
What's poppin', fellow humans? It is I, Kevin, as I have always been. The last ability Crypto has is being able to extract brain stems from people in order to collect their DNA, much like Crypto's probe gun.
Cause it wouldn't be an alien game if there wasn't an alien trying to shove something up someone's ass.
The probe gun, as one might expect, shoots out a green beam which goes up one's rump. This will cause the person's shot's head to explode, leaving the brainstem available for Crypto to take. So, yeah, it's a probe gun, alright.
What? Why'd you cut to me? What are you expecting? You want me to make some sort of joke about the anal probe? What do you want me to do? You want me to shove this up my ass?
The next weapon in Crypto's arsenal that we have access to is—
Cause I'll do it!
The next weapon in Crypto's arsenal that we have access to is the Zap-O-Matic. It's your basic weapon of the game, with it being able to shoot out a beam of electricity to electrocute people. After that, you'll eventually unlock the Disintegrator Ray, which is significantly more powerful than your Zap-O-Matic, doing more damage to vehicles and, who would have guessed it, disintegrating people. The last weapon you get to use is the Ion Detonator, which does massive amounts of damage to both people and vehicles, serving as Crypto's grenade launcher equivalent. You don't have much ammo for it though, so you'll mainly want to be saving it for harder to kill enemies, tanks being the first that come to mind for me. When it comes to the ammo for the Disintegrator Ray and Ion Detonator, you can usually find it lying around on top of buildings and behind bushes. Although, something I noticed is that it can sometimes be pretty hard to find ammo outside of dedicated missions, which can be slightly annoying when I'm just trying to run around in the sandbox world and blow shit up. Crypto's last gadget in his arsenal for the on-foot sections is the jetpack, which, as one might expect, allows Crypto to reach higher areas of the level. Your jetpack can only fly for so long though before running out of fuel, and you won't be able to fly more until you touch the ground again. If you're in mid-air though and run out of fuel, you can rapidly press the button to fly to make you glide down instead, all for the low price of arthritis. Back at the mothership, you'll be able to use any DNA you've harvested on upgrades for your different equipment. These usually range from just increasing damage or ammo capacity. You can also, however, upgrade your PK abilities, making it so that Crypto can now lift heavier objects than he previously could. You can't upgrade your jetpack though, although I think the height you get from it is pretty good right off the bat, so there's not really any need for any upgrades to it. During your time in the game, you'll explore 6 different areas throughout the United States. You have Turnip Seed Farm because, well, it's an alien invasion game. Having a farm is practically required. You got your suburbs and towns like Rockwell, Uniontown, and Santa Modesta. There's also the capital, because if you're an alien trying to overthrow the United States government, you might need to take a trip to visit the nation's capital. The last area of the game that I haven't mentioned yet is Area 42, a playoff of Area 51 and how it's constantly a subject of alien conspiracy theories. Pretty fitting to have it in the game. In each of these areas, you'll obviously be following along the main plot of the game. However, there's also a few other things you can do in these areas, well, aside from causing mass chaos, that is. There are challenges strewn throughout each area for you to do in order to earn some DNA. These challenges could have been an interesting and fun way of farming some DNA, but the missions just end up feeling like an afterthought. They tend to just be stuff like a race where you have to run to different checkpoints under a time limit, harvest a certain amount of DNA, or kill a certain amount of people. There's really just not a lot to these, and they're not super engaging either, so I tend to just ignore them. As for the firepower on the flying saucer side of things, you have the Abducto Beam and Death Ray that I mentioned earlier, but on top of that, you also have the Sonic Boom and Quantum Deconstructor. The sonic boom is a decently sized shockwave that'll cause a lot of damage to vehicles and buildings, while the quantum deconstructor basically just destroys everything that the blast comes in contact with. Flying around in your saucer, you'll have to avoid fire from tanks, missiles, and turrets shooting at you, almost reminding me of a bullet hell style. The only complaint I have with the saucer is that aside from dodging and constantly trying to swerve out of the way of tracking missiles, there's no real way to defend yourself. I mean, there are these health pickups that you can find scattered around, but there's no real countermeasure defending against enemy fire. Depending on how much damage you cause with your weapons and flying saucer, you'll attract a certain attention rating, going from police to army and then ending it off with majestic, with each enemy group being tougher than the last and having their own threats to deal with. Now, with all this open sandbox style gameplay, you'd think that the missions you'd have to do would just be located at different areas of the map, right? Man, if I had a nickel for every time I said that to myself, well, I'd have 1 nickel. Instead, takes a more linear approach to the mission setup, requiring you to select the area of your next mission from a map in the hangar of the mothership, fly down, and start up the mission. Then, once the mission's done or you fail the mission and die, you'll be sent back up into the mothership. Now, while this setup isn't exactly bad, I think that the more open mission structure would have worked a lot better. The only somewhat annoying part about the setup that is here is how you have to go back to the mothership every time you die or finish a mission, even if the next one's in the same area. Now, I can kind of understand it when you die, since a new crypto clone is being made to replace the last one, which is a nice touch, but it still doesn't make it less annoying. It's not super noticeably annoying when playing through the game, it mainly just sounds that way based on how I'm describing it. But the system definitely ain't ideal. One more small gripe I have when it comes to the missions is the fact that you can't replay them to any capacity without starting up a new playthrough. I mean, it's not the worst, especially considering the game is only a few hours long, but it's something I thought was worth mentioning. Playing through the missions themselves though, you'll have a different range of objectives to complete, abducting civilians, disguising yourself in a more stealth-oriented mission, blowing shit up, reading the minds of scientists, blowing shit up, crashing the mayor's pool party, blowing shit up, and invading Area 42, where you blow shit up. All of the missions throughout the game are super fun and charming. The only ones that I'd say kind of drag at points are usually the stealth-oriented ones, but soon after finishing them as a reward, you're allowed to do some of the aforementioned blowing up of the shit. There's also these portions of the game where you'll be stopped from doing the next mission because you need a certain amount of DNA for some arbitrary reason. I think they're here to give the player an opportunity to get upgrades before a tougher mission, but they don't even force you to spend the DNA afterwards, so they're just kind of pointless and annoying. Aside from that stuff, you'll basically just be following through the plot of the game, trying to figure out what happened to Crypto 136 and eventually taking over the United States, all the while trying to fight against the mysterious organization Majestic. Actually, while I'm on the topic of Majestic, aside from being based off of the Men in Black, Majestic is also based off of a real-life organization called Majestic 12. They're brought up a lot in UFO conspiracy theories as a supposed group of scientists, military leaders, and government officials that are meant to recover and investigate alien spacecraft, which is pretty much what Majestic is in this game. Actually, now that I think about it, there are a lot of references like that in this game. The game takes place in 1957 during the Cold War era of American history, and plays off of that fact a lot throughout the game. Hypnotizing someone to dance like Elvis, civilians talking about political figures like Eisenhower and Nixon, the countless times the game makes jokes about communism and how paranoid people could be about it at the time, and of course, referencing and playing off of the tropes from alien invasion movies from this time period. For Christ's sake, the whole game's plot is basically just taking the script of an old alien invasion movie and flipping it on its head. Instead of watching a movie where the aliens are invading Earth, you are the alien invading Earth. This game is just chock full of so many references to so many different things, both from this era and not. It's attention to detail like this that I'm an absolute sucker for. A Majestic agent calling Crypto Klaatu in reference to the movie The Day the Earth Stood Still, a soldier wanting to be like Gomer Pyle and Sergeant York, even the way the characters look and act. General Arnquist from the game might be based off of General Douglas MacArthur, the mayor that you hypnotize in one of the earlier missions is like if you mixed Nixon and Kennedy together, and just the way that all the characters and NPCs talk and act are all straight from the era. Just exaggerated a bit for comedy's sake, of course. Forgive me for going on such a long tangent about the references in the game, but I just respect the amount of effort put into little stuff like this so much. And I mean, it's not even like I'm a huge nerd for 50s era stuff and know a lot about these references or anything. You can thank my knowledgeable little friend for that. But man, stuff like this in games isn't necessary, but it's just fun, and the writing adds to it all tenfold. Like I said before, the game plays off of and rips on a lot of 50s era American tropes and culture, and it becomes really obvious when seeing how some of the characters talk. They can be over-exaggerated to hell sometimes, and it just makes it all the funnier.
It's tearing me apart!
Depending on whether you complete or fail a mission, there will also be these newspaper articles afterwards where the government tries to cover up the fact that there is alien involvement, ranging from "it was Bigfoot" to the tried and true "those darn commies are back at it again." That's also another small but fun attention to detail. Because all of the newspapers are saying that Crypto is just a communist, nobody outside of Majestic refers to him as an alien. Everyone else, like the police and army, don't throw any suspicion or bat an eye the fact that he looks like an alien and is. They just think he's a communist, and that's all, and that's great. As for the characters and NPCs themselves, watching how they act is more justice than just me talking about it. One moment from the game that I love is when you have to disguise yourself as a mayor and try to cover up all the strange events and sightings caused by crypto. The solution of these usually just boils down to blame it on communism and act patriotic and everyone loves you for it, which I think is absolutely hilarious.
So, as you can see, there's nothing to trouble your puny human brains about.
The mayor's right. This was all just a random series of suspiciously coincidental yet easily rationalized events.
Yeah, that's right. Give it up. Let's hear it from me.
Suckers.
Alright everyone, I've reprised my role as president once again to tell you all something crucially important. And that's that aliens aren't real. Mr. President, that's President Gamer to you. Oh, I'm sorry, President Gamer. What about what you told us earlier? You told us that aliens are real and you're making this really big deal out of it. It's a tough one. Don't do drugs, kids. President Gamer, are you implying that you were high during our last meeting? Who's implying anything? Next question. Mr. President, I actually got probed last night. I have scar right here. I can show you for proof. Are you pointing at your kidney?
Oh, that is why the peanut come out red color.
But Mr. President, what about the crop circles?
It's called corn art, bitch ass.
What about all those flashing lights in the sky? What do you gotta say to that, Prez?
The bat signal, duh.
Oh, is that the case, Mr. President Gamer? Well, my 103-year-old grandma, who is totally not senile, said that she was murdered by aliens last week. What do you gotta say to that?
Sounds like a you problem. One last question, sir. I've been seeing videos circulating online of you talking about some green alien named after a parasite. Do you have anything to say about that?
First of all, he's great, not green, and second of all, Pikmin 3 was the third installment in Nintendo's underrated franchise of RTS-style games. The game was originally supposed to come out during the Wii U's launch year of 2012, but was eventually delayed.
The dialogue and humor in this game is great, and while probably not for everyone, I can definitely appreciate a lot. There's a reason the remake uses the audio from the original 2005 version of the game, crunchy PS2 sound quality and all.
Crunchy my ass, this tastes like shit.
Eventually, you start coming to points during the game where you can tell the developers just had a lot of fun making it and writing it too. A certain UFO section right before the final boss of the game stands out in my mind specifically, where the plot just kinda went batshit crazy, but in a fun way. Another time when the game has you defending a radio station from frickin' anti-communist robots. Like, what am I supposed to yell when I see these things? Oh no, here come the Red Wreckers! Having mutated humans with psychic abilities, even watching through the making of movie from the bonus section of the mothership, it's obvious that there's a lot of love put into it. There's this general giving a presentation to a bunch of soldiers about crypto, what the Furons are capable of, and how to fight back against them. Even having scenes with the game's developers in interrogation rooms where they're being asked what they know about the Furons. I love it. Destroy All Humans overall is a really good game. While there are some flaws here and there throughout it, it's a really solid experience and a cult classic in every sense of the word. And with the remake of the game coming out only around a year ago, there's no better time to try and get into the game than now. Although I haven't played it myself, from what I've heard and seen, I'd definitely say that the remake is the best version of the game to get as of now. While the 2005 original is still super fun, the remake seems to have fixed a fair amount of the issues I had with the original, like being able to replay missions, having more easily accessible ammo, and a way to defend yourself in the saucer, all the while updating the graphics and making it look better than it's ever been. And hey, with the remake coming out, there might even be a chance that they remake the second game or make a new game entirely. It's been nearly a decade since the last new Destroy All Humans game, so I think it'd be pretty cool to see a new one come out sometime soon, and see what the new developers are capable of making. So I think I pretty much filled that Grant Albrecht human-destroying D. Bradley Baker voicing the animal-shaped hole in me over the past 10 minutes. Now with that out of the way, there's still one last thing I need to finish up. Alright, I know you guys are like Alien super fans or whatever, but I really need this message to sink in. Aliens are f***ing real!